go right ahead and we'll give the floor right over to Marion. She has a PowerPoint presentation on her financial information. And with that, Marion Smith, CPA, all the way from Fire by the way of Golden, Denver, Colorado, Fort Collins.
Thank you, Chairman. I would like to thank the senators for making it today. I appreciate your time and consideration of this matter. I would also like to, and I like to preface what I tell people when I'm in a tribal arena, that words have power. I understand that, and what I'm going to say today could be taken in the wrong way. And I just want you to understand that if I tell a bad joke or something like that, that you understand that I'm doing this in a positive way, and I don't mean to undermine, insult, or we're going in a positive way. The next thing I wanted to tell you was, going from your comments the last time, you had asked for a narrative that had the numbers associated with the individual categories under the executive branch budget. And so what I did was I stuck the budget for each one of those categories in for example, the question was for the buffalo pasture. That happened to be one of those examples, and so I stuck those types of numbers in there. Then the next request was for the budget by department, and so I think everybody received a package of paper, and the top, let's see, 4 pages I think, are the summary budget, and then the next one, the next document underneath that, starting with the page 1 of 9. What this is the budget by department. And the budget by department has simply revenues and total expenses. It's not broke out into salaries or anything like that just yet. That's an enormous amount of work to do if this is just a draft, but at least you know how much was intended to be allocated to that particular department. So I wanted to explain those two corrections that I made, and I believe those, from a communication standpoint, that kind of hit some of the detail, the largest objections to the budget that I presented before, just breaking out some of the detail. Then, based on our working group meeting last Friday, the comments and the suggestions and the requests at that particular meeting indicated that having the background, seeing the history, is going to make a huge difference to the decisions that you make, because if you're like me, you kind of need to see that picture of what happened in order to understand why we have to move forward in a certain way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to refer to the slide on up here where everybody can see it, and I'm sure hoping. I believe that you have that within your packet. So this is the the revenue trend. This is interesting, guys. Excuse me. This is over time. In this very first year is 2010. I could gather the data, credible data, starting in 2010. There must have been some issues with the MIP system before that, because the data wasn't really complete. So I went from 2010 to 2017, and what you can see over the course of those years is kind of a downward trend after 2014 from a revenue standpoint. This, the largest, the red represents the unrestricted general fund, OST revenue. And what I also like to tell you guys, for just for your information, in case you want to play around with these numbers yourself, I actually pulled these numbers from the audited reports for revenue. So this isn't coming out of the MIP system. I'm not making stuff up. This is from the audited statements. And like the teacher only says, any questions right now? But I guess if they were just move forward. So this next slide is probably more controversial, or where you could probably argue with me a little bit, but I'm giving you the best numbers that I have. This is actually starting the beginning of the 2017 fiscal year, and you can see where our revenue has dropped. You know, we hit a plateau sometime in December, and then, you know, the income didn't go back up. It actually is projected after this end of this coming quarter to actually go down even further. It's unfortunate. It has a lot to do with the market, and you know, there's things that you can control, and this is not one of those things you can control. How the tribe is trying to address this is through economic development, and actually developing our entrepreneurs and the economic atmosphere. And one of my cabinet head for the economic development, Scott Russell, is here, and he's been very supportive of building new contractors for the tribe that are qualified, and teaming together with the college and other partners to help us grow our small businesses. And I've said this before, what if we had 500 brand new businesses, and they were actually bringing enough income at good enough margin where they could hire 3 people? Wouldn't that be nice if we had that number of small businesses that we could start getting to thrive? So my point being, the passive revenue is going down. We can't afford to just sit and not do anything. We actually have to do something really active, which is start building our contractor base. So the last slide that I wanted to talk to you guys about. is I needed you guys to see this because it really makes a huge impact to me. If you were to look at the expenses, now that's the top line. And, over time, our expenses really hit a high. If you look at 2014, that's kind of like the peak. And then 15, the expenses were going down. In 16, they went down quite a bit. But probably the thing that you guys need to know, you need to think about this really carefully as I ask you to pass this bill out of committee. This white line represents the revenue. So the difference between this white line and the top of the expense line, that's how much was overspent. Now, it's an astounding number. Each administration has come into office and they've had this behind them. So imagine we're going along, and then the train wreck happens right here. This is like everything is just piled up right here. That is the reason why we're going to be asking for the ability to borrow so that we can get past the train wreck portion of this and pass the budget that is reasonable for the revenues that we are going to be bringing in. Even at this level, expenses are going to have to go down quite far. Senator, this was for you. So I believe with putting giving you the new narrative, to giving you the detail by department, to explaining kind of the background as to why this is happening. What I do want to tell you too, because I don't want any misunderstandings, these expenses do not include per capita, and they don't include the questionable 15 million. Okay, this is just operating expenses. This is nothing special. Oh, okay, please listen.
On your list there from the top, it says other finance sources. I assume that's where all the big blue is.
Yep, and what you'll find in there are things like the Boca Bay, the Yellowtail Market, just the not big enough by itself kind of income. As it is, we do have a number of small sources, and what I was trying to represent was this was unrestricted, So that tells you how much discretion there was at that point in time.
Unrestricted. Can you explain unrestricted?
Unrestricted means it's not tied to a program, so everything we're talking about today is just the general fund. Just the general fund. Unrestricted being it's discretionary.
It's coal taxes, isn't it? I would guess.
That's probably the largest part of it. The way the audit laid it out was by categories, and so this represents the audit, the data from the audit report. So if you were to look at the top of that particular slide, this is the amount. Other financial sources, It's on that line. Okay?
Well,
So,
sorry, I hate to, the reason why, I'm sorry. Thank you. The reason why I'm bringing that up is because I think that's the part we have to tackle, right? Is that blue section, because that's where we're getting into trouble. So that's why I was saying, could you explain what other financial sources is so that we understand this is the problem right here, that blue area?
I want to make sure that you understand that this came off the audit report, and so without the audit work papers, I can't identify the individual revenues. I could do that for you, but this is also the point that when we get to the discussion where we're talking about the 15 million, I want you guys to understand the train wreck here that happened when the 15 million happened, it spread back to like here, because it's not one individual expense. I can give you the the background for producing an invoice, showing the check. That's not possible because it would be speculation. This is the train wreck that happened right here, and the 15 million was used to pay for part of that train wreck. When this kind of backed up, we've got to pay our bills sometime. The creditors found us, so that's where the money went. But if you look at how the money was dispersed, you can actually see, this followed through, numerous administrations. This isn't like you can pinpoint it to, the Not Afraid administration all of a sudden having a ton of expenses. It's not that. So back to my comment that I've given you the narrative the way you'd asked with the references in it. I've given you the department expansion, revenue and expenses by department. I've painted the picture that you wanted to see what happened. And the other thing that you had requested is that I persuade you to vote this budget out of committee. And I'm asking you guys individually, representing your district, I believe that this particular budget is conservative, but it's something that we have to build on for the future. It's not good, but somewhere along the line, we have to stop spending the way we were spending. And this is a result of that. So I'm asking you to vote this out of committee, and let's move towards the future and building a better budget sometime down the line. Are there any questions?
At this point, we're still moving with the committee information. There'll be a public comment period. With that information, I'd like to express that, in the past year, during the campaign season, I was expressing that the total liabilities that we have in the audit was around 48 million, but with this graph, you accurately depict the information where the individuals can see it. When I expressed 48 million, it seemed like our people could not comprehend the 48 million. But now we have the 48 million, we're in a hole, we have a debt, there's a liability. I think at some point in time, we the Crow people, we the government, we need to start to read our information on the audit. And I think that maybe within the legislature and executive, I think that we need to have trainings on how to read the information, and maybe we have professors within accounting, management, and finance explain not only to the legislature, but executive, but to the enrolled people that, you know, these are our liabilities, and how do we find a solution to tackle these liabilities so that we reduce the total amount of debt. And as I was looking at this, I know that other Indian tribes across the country, they strictly control their debt ratio. Can we say that we're almost 70-80% on our debt ratio, or are we 100% debt ratio? Are we in a negative? I never did put a number to this kind of situation on a debt ratio, but I know that other tribes do. And when other tribes do, then other tribes have their own credit rating system within, and they're analyzed. And some governments have perfect credit and things like that. So I think that if we can move in that direction where we have a good credit rating, then if the Cabinet of Economic Development, Scott Russell, decides to go to Wall Street and say, hey, I want to put up a Hard Rock Cafe, or I want to bring MGM right to the Crow Indian Reservation, right by Billings, or interchange of I-90 and 212, they'll have the ability, but right now, because of this debt ratio, we can't bring any other investments into the Crow Nation. So with that, maybe you can explain that for us.
Thank you, Chairman, for your question. The pertinent question was the debt ratio. And as you may or may not remember, when I first came here for our CR2 budget talks, we had talked about the assessment that we'd be working on. And at that time, we definitely hoped that we would be finished by March 15th, March 31st. But right now, with the level of chaos that we have, and I believe that we've stabilized that, we're still in the process of identifying the debt. There are days when I get a bill for $100,000, and it's, where did this come from? 70, 145 here, 200 there, and it's like, holy cow. Every day is a bill that you can't anticipate until it actually gets there. So we can do the debt ratio based on the audited reports. What is probably more meaningful is where we're at right now. Simply because that's probably your decision point. Did that sort of answer?
So in other words, we had more debt than we had revenue coming in. Anytime any business, any government has more debt than they have revenue coming in, then it's a serious crisis matter. And I think that with the legislature, we need to understand that we need to start to find some type of corrective action plan so that we can start to be in the process of being a stabilized government. And we need to start to take a look at solutions, alternatives in revenue generation in terms of everything and anything that's coming into the Crow tribe.
Yes. So I'm finished with my presentation.
Okay, with that, we have Senator Pat Holland. Go ahead, Junior.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Finance, guests, members of the committee. I got a couple questions on just some of the line items now, going through on the budget here, the one that's proposed FY17 for the third and fourth quarter. First one, I'll just go line by my first question on the debt service. It states it's it's $1 million right now. Compared to years past, with debt service and liabilities, it sat at like $12 million last year, and it's down to $1 million. So is that saying we only owe $1 million now? We're only $1 million in debt? Okay, so maybe you can just explain that.
So debt service it's like having a credit card bill and your balance is $20,000 and you're making a payment on it of $300 a month. This is that $300 a month payment. The $20,000 is still there, you're just paying interest. That's essentially what this debt service is at this stage.
Cash liabilities compared in years past, that was in the same category, so is that?
So that's a good question. I should have provided you what the total debt from the statements. The loan.
He's referring to other liabilities too, doesn't have that.
Okay.
See, that would be good to know, yeah, so it's exactly what I'm talking about, Bill, so.
Did that explain it though? What?
So can we see that eventually? Can you bring that up?
Yes.
Eventually, maybe tomorrow's session on that?
I can get you the statements as of a certain point in time.
Okay. So that's something for us to, that clears the bigger picture on it, and also, so. All right, going down the line, then we get to, let's see, Pro-Fair, okay. Pro-Fair, we got 300,000, is that, how's that gonna be? In years past, what was that?
310.
Is that what it was? So we're
Yes.
kind of going off of.
So I went off from previous budgets and what was spent on the Crow Fair before. I have to cut it really close because we don't have a lot of money, and if I don't budget enough and we don't have enough enterprise going on to pay for it, that'll put us further in debt. So I wanted to be really realistic about what it was going to cost. If you want a return on that money, that is the reason why you have an economic development. But this is to the best of my ability. And to your question too, I've had that question from other senators that they thought that it was half this amount.
Yeah.
And, I look back at other budgets and it was 300,000. I'm not sure if we're talking about the same budget.
So see, that's my exact question. I think other previous years, it was pretty much half this, but like you said, it's what we actually spent on this. So this is a pretty big increase, and the problem that's what executives going to do it, because that's the way they spent on that. So we're gonna have a good Crow Fair, I guess. Next one is.
Actually, the co-fair will probably be normal because that was what was spent in the past.
Well, I'm just saying it wasn't written in the budget like that, so that's where it is. And okay, then my next question is on, let's see, District Community Projects, 128,556. Is this the section we had in section 6 on the previous bill? Okay, it's not section 6 now, but it's I believe it's section. Section 5 now, which currently in the draft, it only states 22,500.
So this is for, this is for 2 quarters. This reflects the increase from, the chairman had said districts would get 3250, and then we bumped that up. And this represents some catch-up in there as well. But
So my question is, so does that be plugged into section 5, that same line item? Is section 5 in the narrative, or is it
Yes.
the actual bill?
yeah,
So currently it just states 22,250, which is,
yeah,
so we need to put the
2-quarter represent.
128,556, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so if you guys can note that down. So I agree with what you're saying, is that was our point too, was to actually put those there. So if you guys would note that down, section 5, that 128 would be actually putting, instead of that 22,500.
Well, we've got 90 in the one on top right.
But even that's wrong, the 90 is even wrong, it's gotta be 128.
So what this represents, the addition, represents a catch-up.
Okay, yes, thank you.
And I believe that we made that agreement
Yep.
in CR2
Yes, we did.
budget negotiations. And this was because each district is going to be responsible for taking care of those needs that the executive used to take care of. Now, I mean, you represent your district, and you should be taking care of your district individually. These are the people that voted you in.
If I may, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Members of the body, listening guests. I wanted to remind you that we're not a program this year. You know, we create law. That's one thing. So you're asking us to get that going. You know, that's what I'm talking about. Just
Let's quick note, Senator Hovan has a question. I apologize to my little brother. Oh, okay, yeah, he decided that he's gonna give a statement on his question. Oh, okay, all right.
So essentially, if I understand you correctly, Eric, Senator Brown, what you're asking is why would additional funds be given at a district level when you're merely lawmakers? That's your question? It's a discussion that you guys, you senators, you're going to have with the executive, because if this is not what you want, you don't want to deal with your constituents, you don't want to help them at that level where I believe you know what's going on, rather than at the executive level where it's first come, first served. You know, whoever screams the loudest gets taken care of. And if you're from an outlying district like Pryor, Oil Creek, you really have to come a ways to get heard. So that's the reasoning behind it. But this is, obviously you don't have to pass it. If you have suggestions, I guess now's the time to get the suggestions in. And it's a philosophy. So this is a good discussion to have.
Go ahead, Senator Grovel. Belly of the chiefs.
Thank you, Chair, members of the committee. I just got a few, I guess, concerns to your current budget. Gaming Commission, hang on it. They've been on the second quarter. They were budgeted for the second quarter, and they haven't gotten paid. Why put them on the budget for second quarter when they're not going to pay them? And they have to be on their budget because they were confirmed here. There's no way around it. So that's my concern and question is why ain't down your current budget that you proposed.
Thank you for your question, Senator. The reason why it may not be shown there, and this could very well be an error and not, it had a zero amount, and so I just pulled it together. We did not allocate numbers to the Gaming Commission. If that's a negotiating point, then let's talk about it. The second question that you had was, why aren't the gaming commissioners being paid right now? And it's not that they shouldn't be paid or that they're not going to get paid. What it means is that the general fund does not have the ability to make payroll 5, payroll 6, commissions, committees. We have to hold off on all of that until we get some more revenue in. It's not that we don't want to pay them and that they're not owed that money. They are. That's not the issue. The issue is the ability to pay.
I got another comment. Why pass the current budget when you're not going to pay nobody? I mean, what's the purpose of having them on payroll if you're not going to pay them? Why pass this current one when they still ain't going to get paid? I mean, that's what I brought up before in that other meeting. You know, and I'm bringing it up again is because I told you before that if they're not paid before we have this session, I'm sticking to what I think they did.
Thank you for your comment. I do want to point this out to the Senate. If you would notice that the white line is the revenue stream, and the revenue stream is not consistent. It's not a straight line going forward, regardless of where it's at. It goes up and down and up and down. And we are on the tail end of a quarter and the year that's close to the lowest quarter historically that the tribe has had bringing revenue in. So to answer your question about why pass a budget if you can't make the payments right now, you pass the budget because without a budget, there's no permission to spend money when it actually comes in. And I'm asking, and as you guys asked me the last meeting, to persuade you to pass this budget, I'm asking you to identify those things which you just have, which is the district payments and other negotiating items, that if we have to hammer them out, then let's do that.
With that, go with Center, Hyberg, Grand Marino District, then we'll go with Junior Alden, then we got the counselor, that's Leacher. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair, members of the body, Executive Miriam. One thing I wanted to mention too was the health board. They haven't been paid too, so I wanted to throw that in there too. You know, and they've been waiting, they've been working as pro bono. I know Chair Tana Holel said that she's still going to meetings, she's still trying to, you know, be there, but we need some confirmations too. And there's some efficiency, so I wanted to mention that.
Thank you, Senator, but I'll just return to that comment, starting with the immediate question about the gaming commission and the committees. The election committee is also one of them. The health board, every day I have someone coming and lobbying to get one of the commissions, committees paid. And I really appreciate the advocacy, but when there isn't any money, it's not feasible. And it's not that I don't want to pay or that I'm being mean in some way. This is just necessity.
Okay,